Good morning. Chris Lee of Southeastern 16 here to talk SEC baseball tournament. We got results in the books. We got 3 games ahead today. We got all kinds of NCAA tournament implications for bubble teams, for hosting teams. We're going to try to unpack all that for you. I was furiously scrambling to do a little research just now as we were getting ready to go live to unpack some stuff overnight that I think could have some ramifications for some SEC teams in terms of not just seeding, but also hosting and anything that you'd like to talk about. Got a lot of our regulars in the chat already, Tokidoki being one of them. We got Moonshine with us, Caleb Swiger. We welcome you guys all. Hope your team had a good night. Boy, it was an interesting day in Hoover yesterday. I was there for part of it, made the drive back last night, listened to Oklahoma and Georgia, which was a fascinating game on the radio on my way home, or actually listened to the TV broadcast through the stereo in the car. And spent a little bit of time this morning unpacking some other conference scoreboards. I think there's some stuff in the ACC that was interesting that particularly could impact Kentucky's at-large chances. Lots of stuff going on. I've got an outline. We'll go through all of it. I'll take your questions as I get them. Here's what we're going to go through today. We're going to talk a little bit about Texas A&M and Mississippi State last night, some implications for both teams. Actually, that was yesterday morning. Where will Mississippi State be in the seeding picture? We'll go through that in just a minute. I think Jay Greason's going to join me, but I guess I didn't send him the link. I sure thought I did. So let me take care of that. Lots of stuff going on here today. Lots of stuff going on here. Let me send Jay the link. I swear I thought I had done that, but I had not. So give me 2 seconds to do that, and I'll get back to baseball. It's been that kind of morning around here. Okay. Yes, here's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about ramifications from A&M, Mississippi State, Tennessee, and Alabama. I thought that might be a game that had some, what do you call them? Hosting ramifications. I thought winner take all. The winner I thought might get a hosting bid. The loser I thought might get a 2. Talk to a person or two that has done this longer than I have in Hoover. I won't name names. They know it better than I do. They had a different take on it. I get to that in a little bit. Oklahoma. Kyson Witherspoon was just tremendous again yesterday. As we expect him to be. They beat Georgia last night, and then Hunter Elliott and Mason Morris, the nightcap, pitched Ole Miss to a win. So today's matchups are going to be Texas A&M and Auburn at 11 Central, Tennessee and Texas at 3 Central, and Vanderbilt and Oklahoma at 6:30 Central. I give you those times. I do not guarantee them by any stretch of the imagination because we've seen SEC tournament baseball. We know how this goes. Especially if you're waiting for that Tennessee-Alabama game to end yesterday, which I think we thought was never going to end. That pushed everything back for the rest of the night. So we'll get into all that. We'll get into hosting stuff and bubble results. And again, we'll take your questions. Let me ping Jay Greason one more time, make sure he got the link because he's planning on joining me. Yeah, so I think Jay will be joining us in just a minute. Let me get some comments quickly. Thank you, Robert, for the nice comments. We got Arkansas in the chat. They haven't played yet. Sam asking me, am I going to Hoover Saturday? Probably not, to be determined, though. Got some family stuff going on here at home. It's a little chaotic in my life right now. Reb's hosting after last night. Maybe. We'll hit that in a minute. Sam says if Tennessee wins today, he'll be there on Saturday. Tennessee's got an interesting one with Texas. We'll break that down in a minute. People are wanting Jay's French toast. Sorry, can't help you there today, but boy, that made me hungry yesterday. The Diamond Dogs. Yeah, Mark, I was disappointed in them too. I thought they were the hotter and more confident team coming into Hoover than was Texas A&M, but that's baseball. A&M threw Ryan Prager, and he pitched more like Ryan Prager. Sam says, one day I'll learn to work a computer. Hey, Sam, don't count on it, buddy. That's all I can tell you. Jay Greason's with us. Good morning, Jay Greason.
Morning, my friend. How are you?
Good. It would have helped you if I'd sent the link in the first place, wouldn't it?
Hey, details, man. Details.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought I had sent it, but I had not. It has been a morning here in the Lee household as we scramble to finish school.
How did the surgery go?
Well, here's what made my morning a scramble. We got a call this morning, and the surgeon said, the surgeon is sick and out. So we can either go back to the surgeon at the end of August, which means my wife can't see for 3 more months, or we can take option B. And so that's what I spent my morning. The time that I had allotted for show prep went into eye surgery consultation, which, as you may know, I'm not an expert on. So that explains a little bit of the last-minute scrambling. But we've said our prayers. We'll make our peace, and we will have some baseball stuff for you regardless. So anyway, yeah. Here we go. Jay, let's unpack yesterday. We've got Mississippi State going home, A&M playing on. We've got Tennessee and Alabama. Both those teams just didn't stop hitting. I think that was the best of Tennessee and the worst of Tennessee on display yesterday. We've got Oklahoma. We've got Kyson Witherspoon throwing 5 pitches. But by the way, when you watch TV, like you're listening to the broadcast, when you're driving, you're not watching. You're just listening to the audio. I think Tom Hart and Kyle Peterson are just so good. Like, when you were just listening instead of watching, you're focusing on the stuff and the way they talked about Kyson Witherspoon and him adding a changeup, which he did not throw the first time around against Georgia. That was an interesting detail. He was throwing 5 pitches last week. I continue to think, in my mind, if I'm a Major League Baseball team and I get 1 pick and it's got to be an SEC guy, I'm taking Kyson Witherspoon. There's some other really, really good players in this league, some great players, but that's who I'm taking. So there's a thought there that we can unpack a little bit. I did not get to see Ole Miss and Florida late last night. Did check the box score, not shocked at all. Hunter Elliott just really knows how to pitch. He gives you nothing to hit. And then they went Mason Morris to finish, I think, off after that. Beat red-hot Florida. I think we can talk Ole Miss and its hosting case. Like, we have no shortage of topics to talk about this morning. Between what happened last night, what's happening today, I'll give you guys the pitching matchups in a minute, and then some ramifications. I think there's some bubble results that could impact Kentucky. Spoiler alert, I think Kentucky's a little safer now than it might have been after it got eliminated by Oklahoma. I'll get into the whys of that. We've got a ton of stuff here to talk about. Where would you like to start?
I think you touched on it first. And I mean, Kyson Witherspoon had Kumar Rocker type of dominance yesterday, where you weren't necessarily worried about him giving up a whole lot of runs. It was impressive when Georgia just got the barrel on him. I mean, he was tremendous and had the stature and mound poise of a guy that you expect to get like a game one start in the Major League postseason in like 3 years. I mean, he looked like him yesterday.
Yeah.
And let's talk about who he did it against. I mean, yeah, ballpark aside, Georgia's great at Foley Field, yada, yada, yada. That's still a team that is really in the single digits nationally in almost every offensive metric. And for him to just throw – it's borderline unfair to have 5 pitches when the number one's hitting 96, 97.
Yeah. I just watch him, and that's the part he's just so refined, man. I mean, he throws strikes. He throws different pitches. I always get this like estimated time to the majors thing always, some people say, well, he needs a longer, and like with certain guys, you can see it, right? You watch guys, you're like, okay, that guy can't control his stuff, or that guy needs a third pitch. Like some of it's easily identifiable. I watch Kyson Witherspoon, and I'm like, I don't understand why this guy couldn't be pitching for a major league team in August and September. I mean, tell me what I'm missing. I'm not a scout, but I've watched a lot of baseball, and I've watched him. And man, if you're who's picking first in the draft? Is it I'll look up the draft order, but I don't care who. Heck, even if you're a team that like is in the playoff chase, you need the fifth starter, and you're one of these teams that had a bad year last year. You're drafting early this year. I mean,
national.
You could do a whole lot worse than take Kyson Witherspoon and throw him into the back end of your rotation, or maybe long relief somewhere. Let him pitch in a mop-up game to try it on for size and see how it works. I just think that kid's amazing.
The only reason they won't is the salary calendar.
But didn't they fix some of that allegedly? I mean, maybe not all of it, but some of it.
But, no, he had MLB stuff yesterday. Heck, the way the Pirates are hitting, Georgia may have a better lineup. And he just was – I use this word a lot, but man, oh man, relentless.
Yeah. I love watching. Like every time he pitches, it's almost appointment TV. I'm sure it is for scouts too.
And we'll get more of that. To your point right there, that's interesting.
My comments frozen here.
There's no telling. If every major league team is not represented staying somewhere in the Birmingham suburbs this weekend, they're doing it wrong.
Yeah. Kyle Peterson said something interesting last night. Like he said, tonight's the kind of game that you used to have 30 scouts and the radar guns on it. Now they don't have to do that. They just use TrackMan. But like, I do think scouting, to me, a lot of it is getting eyes on a guy. Because you can track so much of the stuff that people used to debate, right? Now that's all trackable. It's not up for debate. I'm sure the weather and humidity sometimes play a factor in that. I'm guessing they figured that out too, in terms of how pitches move and stuff like that and altitude. But to me, if I'm a scout, the part I'm watching for is like body language and confidence and stuff. And you know what? Skip Johnson also said something last night in the mid-game interview, which I despise for the most part. I think they're useless. I just think a coach is, for the most part, ready to get on and do his duty to the broadcast and then get on with the game. Sometimes they're interesting, but Skip Johnson's was interesting last night. They asked him, what is the thing that makes Kyson Witherspoon special? Do you know what his answer was? I could give you 50 guesses, and I bet you won't get it. His humility. Like, when have you ever heard a coach, and we love Skip, man. We had him on before the year. We'll have him on next year, I'm sure, and I hope you can join us. Because, man, we could do 4 hours with Skip Johnson. He would probably do it too. But I think when you see the stuff, and then you hear his coach, and like he raved about him and Malachi before the season. Like, we could have done an hour on those two alone because you could tell he was in love with them. And now that you've seen Kyson pitch for sure, you can see why. Malachi struggled a little bit, and they debated last night. They threw out this, and I hadn't thought of this too. Like, they're identical twins. And I think they're a little different, but like Malachi could be at a disadvantage because you saw his brother pitch on Friday, and then you get him on Sunday. So you've seen some of it once. The velo's there with him too. The control is not there as much. He tends to get hit a little harder. But I'd never thought about that. Like, I wonder how much of a factor that has been in all this. But anyway.
Well, and I couldn't help but think it's weird how when your kids play so many sports, and I've got a question that I want to ask both you and Sam. But I couldn't help but think there's no way the Witherspoons ever lost a rec game. because if you get brothers when you draft and you get both of those dudes, they never lose. I mean, can you imagine them from 6 through 10 and just dominating people? Yeah. But I agree with you. He looked a part of every bit of Rocker, Skeens, McDonald. I mean, of the all-time Rushmore of SEC pitchers.
Yeah.
But who do you think is going to go first? He or Liam Doyle?
I think it's him. He's got a longer track record and he throws more pitches. I'm not saying Doyle may have the better career. I don't know, but it's just like we hadn't seen this version of Liam Doyle until 3 months ago. Now, if I'm picking in the top 10, I'm perfectly fine picking Liam Doyle, right? But if I'm having
the top 5 probably to get either one of them.
Well, yeah, and I'll tell you what. Hey, if Kyson Witherspoon, this won't happen. Man, if he made it to the Reds at 9 with the young arms they're collecting, holy smokes! The Reds are poised, if they play it right, to be good for a while with that pitching, with Hunter Green, the way he's developed, Nick Lodolo, all those guys.
Ethan asked if the Witherspoon brothers and the Lloyd brothers were in the same rec league, who wins? That's a great question. But
it's been a year for brothers
hitting every day of the week.
Hey, we left out in there. You got the Branch brothers facing off last night at Oklahoma. I mean, we got some brother stuff going on in this league.
And while we're here, big man Bruce Pearl asks the draft stock on Elliott. I think he could very well be a guy who finds a spot in the major league rotation. I don't know how high his stock's going to be because he's not. Hey, rightly or wrongly, there are a whole lot of really good players who fall out of the first round because they don't check the speed box, and that's either from in the 60 or from 60 feet away. And a lot of major league scouts think they can teach you everything else if you've got the fundamental skills of being fast, and that's either with your arm or with your feet.
Yeah. Hunter Elliott to me is just a guy who knows how to pitch. You know, he's not in fact, I want to see where, gosh, I was looking through Baseball America the other day. I'm not even sure that he's in their top 400. I could be wrong. I'm going to go to MLB Pipeline because they do, I think they consult with the scouting bureau.
Well, I tell you what's interesting too is a lot of these guys, and Adam says in the chat that he's supposedly coming back to Ole Miss. Guys, you're going to see a ton of that. If you're not a bonus baby, big time single digit or first round, second round guy, not only are you going to make as much money in the NIL, you've got nicer facilities across the SEC these days than you do in a whole lot of high A and some of the minor league operations. Now, I mean, if you're out of eligibility, that's one thing, but we all got to keep an eye on the Zakai Ziegler lawsuit.
Yeah.
What that may mean.
If I'm Elliott, I'm coming back because if Elliott can just get up to 95 or 96, I mean, the kid knows how to pitch. He just doesn't give you much to hit. It's not the prettiest thing. He may not be the most pitch efficient guy in the league in terms of pitch counts and stuff, but man, that guy's got the temperature to be on the big stage. I mean, you saw what he did. He helped carry Ole Miss to a national title as a freshman, which was remarkable. Has barely pitched since then because of the injuries. The injuries are going to, you know, you don't come back like your old self after missing 2 years, right? But I think what he's done has been super impressive. I think a return to college baseball would make a ton of sense for Hunter Elliott.
I agree. And Sam notes that Fisher will go higher than you think. Not higher than I think, brother, because I think
you can't get him out.
15, I'll be shocked.
Yeah.
The question in that, if it's Doyle or Witherspoon among SEC dudes that toe the rubber, is it who goes first among left-handed power bats, Fisher or LaViolette?
Oh, I think it's Fisher at this point if you're just looking just for a bat, because now you can DH. And look, Fisher's been a disaster defensively, but the guy did play, I think, the left side of the infield. Duke. I think he played third, which should mean he's got some ability. I mean, these guys are 21 and 22 at this point. They're not finished products. But I mean, right now, your discussion of who would I least like to pitch to right now in this league? I think the discussion is Fisher and Irish.
I agree. Completely agree. And I mean, Fisher has unbelievable presence at the plate. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we talked about Witherspoon on the mound, but when Fisher walks up there, it becomes not only must-see TV, but everybody in the ballpark's paying attention, and the defense better be on the balls of their feet.
Yeah. I think right now, okay, here's what MLB Pipeline's got with SEC guys. By the way, Vandy commits Seth Hernandez at 2, so he won't be making it to campus. Oklahoma commit Eli Willits is at 4, same thing. Billy Carlson, Tennessee commit at 8 or at 6. I would expect the same thing. So here's where we get into the players. Pipeline, I don't know when it updated. It's still got LaViolette at 7. It's the highest SEC player, followed by Witherspoon at 8, Cade Anderson at 9, Liam Doyle at 10. And where's Ike Irish? Ike Irish is down at 20. I don't think that's going to hold. Keelan at 16. I wonder if it's been a minute since they've updated this.
Well, you talk about Fisher and the reference to the scouts. They'll figure out whether they give him an opportunity to play. I mean, for God's sakes, Marcelo Zuna spent some time in left field, and he couldn't catch herpes in a Vegas whorehouse. I mean, so they'll figure out a place to put him, because if you can hit like that, they'll pencil you in somewhere.
Yeah, Stan is making the point I was getting to. I think Hunter Elliott is probably a 4 or a 5 for somebody, but I think to know how to pitch and poise, I would, and he throws harder than Jamie Moyer did. He's a lot younger too. But anyway, I think there's a place for Hunter Elliott, but I do think that, like, the signing bonus, like, Hunter Elliott's not going to get $1 million to sign. And Ole Miss, with NIL, I'm sure can make him a very good offer to stay. See, I think, to me, that's a little storyline that people are sleeping on, is when you get fringe draft prospects or guys that slipped, right? You can now make an offer for them to come back to school that's competitive with the signing bonus. So they get the money, they get the reset, and they get to try to improve themselves. And I'm thinking, like, R.J. Austin at Vanderbilt, good example. I'm going to be very interested to see how that goes, like they did it last year with Jonathan Vastine, who came back and has had a really nice year, has really come on for Vanderbilt late. Tremendous defensive shortstop for them. I think Hunter Elliott, he's come to that point a little differently, but I would absolutely do it. And look, that makes I think that's a win for everybody, right? The scouts get to see him pitch another year without investing. College baseball gets Hunter Elliott another year. Why not?
You also get to see if they're truly healthy. And, I mean, with all the injury bugs through the year, showing you're durable is also an asset. And it got me thinking a little bit with the Zakai Ziegler news circulating yesterday, suing for a 5th year. And I don't know why Brody Johnston's name came to my mind. It's not going to be long until a college freshman sues that, why in the hell can I not enter the draft now?
Yeah, good point. Really,
and I'm not saying Brody's ready. I just have known the kid since he was playing travel ball up here for exposure since he was 12. But, I mean, if you think you're freshman ready and you're not happy with the NIL and you don't want a portal, it doesn't make any sense to me why they can't a 4-year school freshman can't enter the draft.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Logan Crow, Max Grubbs and Riojas, Texas can make NIL offers a hell of a lot better than anybody not taken in the first 3 rounds. I mean, that's a big team picture. And there are a lot of schools in the SEC who can say that.
All right, let's recap a little bit. Here's what we're going to do. I want to talk briefly about the 4 games yesterday. I want to look briefly to the 3 games ahead today, and then we'll get into hosting result, bid steals, anything like that that's relevant for postseason. So yesterday, let's start here. A&M came to play. Jace LaViolette had a grand slam. Early through Ryan Prager, I was surprised, and then used Freshcorn, Rudis, and Lyons for three of their better arms. I wasn't crazy about the move because I think I might have gone bullpen and say Prager to later on more normal rest because, and maybe part of the thinking was, hey, I can use Prager, as a 1 or 2 inning guy on Saturday or Sunday. Although didn't his pitch count get to 100 or close to it?
It was close to it. But I also think, one, the ready to play phrase is apropos, but I also think it also was a exclamation point on what this meant to early and to the Aggies. I mean, one win, even 2 wins is not going to be bid worthy, but you get bounced right there, and we're having a hard discussion about who's the next coach.
Yeah, which I think a lot of people think we are anyway, but that just would have expedited the timeline.
More coffee.
Yeah, go for it. So anyway, Mississippi State is going to go home. It's going to await its regional destination. Will the Bulldogs be a 2 or a 3? That's the question at this point. RPI this morning is 33, and KPI is 36. So if you just go by the numbers, which is always a good starting point, right? Because the thing that I always say is I'm not a mind reader, and I don't know what the committee is going to value. I always like to use RPI and KPI as a starting point and then try to say, okay, why would I argue a team above or below that range? That's going to suggest State as a 3. I haven't done my homework there. Well, let me look a little bit. Things that could help or hurt State. 8-18 quad 1. That's definitely not helping. 14 wins in quad 4. That's not helping. I don't know. Without doing this for every team, which you really have to do in order to do it accurately, I think State's a 3.
I do too. I actually think the biggest threat to Kentucky and Mississippi State is Texas A&M. And if they run till Sunday and get back in the conversation, I don't think this league is going to get 14. And I think I think the biggest threat to the Mississippi State and Kentucky, who we both think are in, and Texas A&M's on the outside looking in, but they make a run. And I agree with you, big man Bruce. I think Texas A&M and Auburn today is going to be must-see TV. I've penciled my day around it.
A&M's moved to 52 in the RPI. It has moved to 38 in the KPI. So let me do some quick math on that. Aggies are way down my sheet. Let me locate them. Oh, good grief. What did I say, 52?
Yeah.
And what was the other one?
I don't know, Hunter Elliott. I mean, we've touched a few bases today.
We have,
and I've even used the courthouse reference, so I don't even know how to really go on from there.
Yeah, how about we not? Let's see. Yeah, I mean, look, you average those. Average the RPI and the KPI. One's 52, one's 30. That's 45. Right now, 44 teams get in the tournament. Is that large? That's where that bid steals?
There are a lot of folks paying attention to. There are a whole lot of bubble teams who are putting on their Butch Thompson hoodie today. Yeah.
So that's your starting point. The numbers make you very borderline by those. Now here's the problem: 11-19 in the SEC, 8-17 in quad 1. 5 quad 5 losses or quad 4 losses, 13-5 there. So there's no way, the numbers put them in the range, the RPI and the KPI. When you dig in, there's no way they're getting in. Not that I thought that they would at this point, but just to play it all the way through now, win a couple more games. because, Auburn, big RPI boost, and then LSU. Like, you win those 2 games, all the metrics shoot up the charts, and then maybe we're having a different conversation. But if it becomes a 3-team comparison, because we're talking Mississippi State and we're talking Kentucky. Kentucky took 2 or 3 from A&M in College Station, I think. I think that was the opening. Was that the opening season of the? Wait a minute. I'm getting my stuff mixed up. Let me recircle here. I think. Okay, that's right. They did. They took 2 or 3 at A&M, lost the opener, and won the last 2. So if it's and these things are rarely just 2-team comparisons because you're compared to the field. But if you're compared to the field, Kentucky's way better. And by the way, Kentucky picked up 3 quad 1 wins last night. Somebody jumped into quad 1 from quad 2. I don't know who, but I did notice that. So now Kentucky's got 11 of those. And if it's a head-to-head thing, Kentucky's got that too. So Kentucky's not getting bumped out by A&M, I think, unless it wins the tournament. Could be wrong. Maybe an LSU and an Auburn win, get them to a different place, and it's a different conversation, but we're not there yet. And as for Mississippi State, let's see. I cannot remember what they did in the regular season. They did not play A&M. So played them once, lost. Maybe that's where the comparison becomes applicable, but I don't think Kentucky A&M favors A&M at this point.
The Tennessee game was, I think you touched on it in the opener, and not to, I mean, there's just so much to get to today, but it has to be at times infuriating to be a Tennessee fan, because they can look like 2022 offensively, and then they kick the ball around and give up a 4-run lead.
Mm-hmm.
And defensively, they're hard to trust.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember if there was 1 out or 2 out. There was a play, and I never did see the replay. I just watched it live. It was one of those things where there's a ball hit to the right side, so there's a moment of indecision where the first baseman and second baseman's going, okay, who's going to get this? Fisher runs over to the bag. They charge Curley with the error on the throw, which gets away, scores 2 runs.
And should have ended the inning, I think.
They're just not natural there. I mean, it just – I don't know, man. There's like a degree of athleticism or practice or something there that's – and maybe for Fisher, the kid's been switched around. He's played a lot of places. He's probably still learning to play first base. I mean, it certainly looks like it at time. Yeah, well, and this is the recap I was looking for. He rushed the throw, had enough time. I mean, it was going to be it wasn't going to be an easy play. But, I mean, and that's kind of the point, too. When they get in these spots and there's pressure to have to make those split-second decisions, it just seems to go wrong. And when you're always shifting guys around from this spot to that spot because nobody can lock anything down, that's kind of what you get.
Well, I couldn't help but think, and Sam asks, does Dean Curley lead the league in errors? I mean, I don't know, but a lot of times when one thing happens, Curley then joins Mo and Larry, and you're just looking around for Shep. And because all the Stooges start kicking it around.
Well, I wondered, like, Keelan had been a shortstop at Louisville. Curley had been the shortstop last year, and Fisher had played the left side of the infield. And I get it, man. Those guys can all hit. But you're like, okay, that could cause you some issues. And you've got Ariel Antigua in there, too, in case of defensive emergency, although he hasn't locked it down when I've watched him lately. Yeah, I mean, and it says, and again, I didn't get to see the replay. I was in the press box. I was watching it. As soon as that happened, my attention shifted to something else. I don't know that they ever showed the replay on the board anyway.
It was ice cream. Everybody, Chris went. He had to go get ice cream.
Well, if I'd gone to get ice cream, then I would have seen it because they got TVs there and it's on a delay. So that's what there's my lesson. Always get ice cream, right? But I did wonder, like, there's a lot of stuff that could go wrong there, right? Because you got guys that are all trying to get to the majors, and I'm not saying this has happened, but my first thought when they added this was, I was like, okay, let's see how we keep everybody happy and cohesive, because you got a bunch of guys on that team that are going to want to play the left side of the infield, and not all of them can be there. And Sam says Antigua makes the great play, can't make the easy one. Yeah, I saw him drop a triple play ball the other night. I think at this point it's just kind of in their heads. I mean, it's ability too, but Sam said Curley's got the yips, and I think he's right.
Well, with all apologies to Steve Sachs, Mackie Sasser, and even the catcher from Major League Two, when they get in your head, they're in your head. But I also think, as impressive as the Tennessee offense was yesterday, we got a reminder that A.J. Russell has elite stuff when he's healthy.
Yeah, I was going to say there was plenty of good too with him, and we haven't gotten there yet. And I'm going to pull up the box score just to have the numbers, but I think that was Russell's longest outing. He went close to 80 pitches, and he looked really good. Now, their problem started when the pitch count, I think, got late, and they had to go to the bullpen. They hit the heck out of the ball yesterday. They were just driving it all over the yard. I think they only had one home run.
Well, hey,
and I think that was Chapman.
One of the things that was very enlightening on the broadcast, I think the first 11 balls Tennessee put into play had an exit velocity of 100 miles an hour.
Yeah. Now, I mean, they were also getting some, like, their batting average on balls in play was insane yesterday. Like, they couldn't do that again. And so there was a little bit of, but like, I was watching the balls. Most of them were hit hard. Inslee had a 2-out, I think one that scored. Was it Inslee or was it Curley? I don't remember who. No. Wait, it was Keelan, I think. It was a lefty, took one over the shortstop's head, just kind of drove it the other way. I mean, it didn't really drive it. It was a little bit of a blooper, but like they were putting bat to ball yesterday. They struck out 7 times. I didn't really understand some of Alabama's pitching decisions, by the way, but they were putting it in play. And like, you know, I talk about this all the time. There was the, you know, there's always the, okay, you know, Tennessee benefits by playing in that park. And like power alley to right in particular, the ball gets out there quickly to right. And I always say, well, their pitchers have to pitch in that too. But yesterday we saw Tennessee's offense in a big park, and it worked out really well for them because they're still putting the ball in play. They're hitting a lot of line drives. They were hitting the gaps yesterday. You know, Alabama's outfielders were, you know,
tired.
They were getting in there. They were getting in their steps, chasing down balls to the gaps yesterday.
Their exercise circle on the Apple Watch was completed by the 4th inning.
Yeah, right. That's what I was getting at. So, I mean, I thought for Tennessee, like the stuff that you're worried about, that's still there. But like if Russell,
yes,
and the line wasn't great. Okay, the line ended up being 2 earned runs, 4 hits,
the
4
stuff
runs.
Was though. The stuff was.
The stuff was, and the pitch count was there. He walked one guy. He didn't hit anybody. Like, if you're A.J. Russell and you throw strikes, now he did get hit at times this year. I saw it. But he's also far from a guy that's had a lot of ramp-up time this year. It's been in bursts. And I think if you're Tennessee, that's the best thing that came out of yesterday. And Marcus Phillips was really good. First time through the lineup, and then second time it started to fall apart, so maybe that's a concern. Or maybe not second time, but later. You know, he didn't get as deep into the outing as you wanted him to. But I thought the Russell thing, like, if Russell has built up some stamina, and I forgot to check the radar gun to see what the velo was.
96.
Late in the game?
Yes. With off-speed stuff with a solid 10-mile-an-hour difference.
Okay.
I mean, it was impressive. I mean, and buckets, man. The intramural basketball team from this Tennessee pitching staff with Phillips and Russell, they're going to hammer you inside. Those are 2 big dudes.
Yeah. So I think sustaining velo late in outings had been an issue for him. Like that could be an indication this guy's building up strength, and that's kind of a piece that you really didn't have at that level for most years. So look, I think if I'm Tennessee, I'm coming out of yesterday. I've still got some concerns, but I'm probably feeling a little better just for A.J. Russell alone.
Completely agree. That was
okay.
In fact, other than that and Ole Miss really handling their business, and somebody asked a while ago in the chat, absolutely I think Ole Miss is in play for a host. And I think yesterday was a big exclamation point on that. And you've got to feel good winning tight games in leverage situations.
Let's talk Alabama a minute. I did not come out feeling as good about Alabama. I didn't really understand the Vinatieri move to start, or who did they start? They did start Vinatieri. And then they went, oh gosh, one of their other arms. I've got the box score right here. Good grief.
I'll tell you what was pretty interesting was Skip in the postgame was immediately doing what you see a lot of college basketball coaches do and started talking about their campaigning and their what he felt like was their resume to host.
Rob Vaughn?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't get the pitching sequence. They threw Zane Adams middle of the game, and that didn't go well. He's one of their better arms. I'm like, if you're going to throw Zane Adams today, I didn't understand not starting him.
Correct.
Aiden Vinatieri was not good. Tennessee was on him for the jump, almost like it knew the pitches. They then went to Matthew Heiberger, who's been one of their better guys out of the pen lately. That didn't work. Then went to Braylon Myers, who's even Carson Osmer included might be their best guy in the pen. He was okay, but he went 36 pitches and only got for an inning a third, and then it was just, pick a guy. They ended up going 9 guys, threw most of the guys that I would think that they would throw. Nobody was really effective at any point, but I thought they stayed too long with Vinatieri. It clearly wasn't working. If you're playing to win that game and you got Adams in the mix, I didn't get the fact that they didn't go to him earlier. Now, he wasn't good either, so there's that. But the thing that stood out to me, okay, I watched Justin LeBron play, okay? And, like, the skills are just off the charts. He bobbled a ball yesterday. It's short, just dropped it, which he's been doing a lot lately. And he knew that, like, he didn't have time to do a whole, like, wind up and move your feet. And he just took the ball with his feet planted and all arm without moving his feet, threw it to first, and darn near got a runner. Had another one of those plays where he got the relay throw from the outfield, and it was a bang-bang play at the plate. He didn't have time to set and do all – did kind of the same kind of thing. Like, when you go to and watch games in person, sometimes you'll pick up on stuff like that. And, like, we know about the bat when it's going, that it plays like – no reason Justin LeBron is not a top 5 guy for next year right now because he's young and it's time to work it out. But, boy, that kid is pressing. There was a ball that I thought and I'd have to see the replay. Maybe he could have gotten 2 up the middle. Just he continues to just drop simple ground balls at times. And that looks to me like a guy who's feeling the weight of a lot of stuff.
I think that's fair. And whether it was in late April and early May, whether it was hand, arm injuries or now pressure and weight, as the word you used, I don't know. But, no, he's a guy who checks every box, man. I'm certain there were a whole lot of folks writing down a whole lot of things in Major League Scout notebooks about that kid because the skills are there.
Okay, I'm checking the metrics, the Alabama-Tennessee comp. Okay, Tennessee is now past Alabama in the metrics. Alabama's 11 in the RPI, 15 in KPI. Tennessee is 12 and 9 there. Average those out, that's 13 for Bama, 11 for Tennessee. And Tennessee has now beaten Alabama 3 or 4 times, all in the state of Alabama. So, again, are we talking comparison to the field? I think it's still a discussion. If we isolate those 2 teams and it's Tennessee and Alabama, then, then it's Tennessee. I mean, it's really Tennessee either way at this point. But both the thing that both teams have common ground on is that both had issues winning series, but both were really good at picking up one game.
Yeah. And man, oh man. Did Georgia play out of a national seed yesterday?
No, I don't think so. I was listening to Kyle Peterson. He said, hey, 1 RPI going into that is they're going to get it. Georgia's now 3 RPI, 6 KPI. Now, I think they might be towards the end of that 8-team tier, especially if Auburn, Vandy, Alabama continue. All the Vanderbilt almost at this point. Gosh, Vandy is 1 in KPI, 2 in RPI.
Yeah.
So I don't know what would have to happen there, but I think they're still in it. But what the committee does with this week, and maybe what it thinks of LSU if it gets to Sunday, which I think it will, we'll see. It's that whole metrics versus who do you think's the better team?
Right. Which game are you most excited for today, Chris?
Probably A&M and Auburn because, and here's why. Tennessee, Texas could be phenomenal.
I mean, mine is A&M and Auburn, but as a lot of folks know here, I went to Auburn. But
well, go ahead.
The Liam Doyle in Texas, and I mean, if Tennessee starts building up some us against the world mojo, and we're the defending champ, and unload some Ric Flair to be the man, you got to beat the man. I mean, this is a team that has all the pieces to go on a run.
Yeah, well, let me give you the maybe the 45-second rundown to set the stage so we can answer that question. Okay, A&M and Auburn, 11 Central. They did not play during the regular season. Auburn has announced right-hander Cam Tilley. People think, I guess A&M would go with lefty Justin Lampkin. He's been there 2 all year. They threw their 1 yesterday. Maybe that was just a matchup situation with Prager. I don't know. But if you had to make me make a guess, I would say that A&M goes with Lampkin. I Googled that before the show today. Did not see anything. So if you guys have seen an announcement, please drop that in the chat. Okay, Tennessee and Texas, 3 Central. They also did not play during the regular season. The Vols are going with Doyle, and as Mike Wilson pointed out, the Knoxville News Sentinel, they've also got Snead, Franklin, and Loy available. Texas is going to go with lefty Ethan Walker, who threw 6 2/3 innings this year, albeit 6 2/3 really good innings. But that's your situation for that one. 3 Central and Vandy, Oklahoma. Vanderbilt lost the series in Norman to the Sooners. The Commodores will go with number 1 J.D. Thompson, who is their lefty, who started in that one spot pretty much all year. And then Oklahoma, I think the sentiment is that Cade Crossland is likely to pitch for Oklahoma. He's a lefty. Good stuff. Results are off and on.
Well, A&M Auburn, you're talking about 2 teams with a lot to play for. I guess everybody at this point has a lot to play for. You're going to get to see the big league arm in Doyle. And boy, oh boy, Oklahoma Vandy feels like first team to 4. Go ahead and book them to Saturday.
Yeah. Well, in Oklahoma last night has thrown Dylan Crooks its first 2 games. Now, I don't think the pitch counts were huge, but closer might not be available 3rd straight day. And frankly, I don't think Oklahoma has much else to play for. 14 and 16 in the regular season. 11 and 16 in quad 1, 6 and 2 in quad 2, 25 in the RPI, and 23 in KPI. I mean, that just screams middle of the road too. So, I mean, beating Vanderbilt today would be nice for Oklahoma, but I don't know that it really changes anything. I mean, maybe if they won the tournament, They get a mention in the hosting talk, but I mean, a 14-16 SEC team has never hosted. So,
well, as Jim Dillingham pointed out in the chat, Oklahoma played the number 1 RPI team yesterday in Georgia, and they'll play the number 1 RPI team in Vandy today. And I don't know what else to tell you, but welcome to the SEC, Jim.
Yeah, I mean, and there was some question whether Oklahoma could slide to a 3. I think we can put that to rest now.
Yeah, I do too.
So,
and as a 2, if you're the 1 in that bracket and they wiggle through the 2-3 game without using Kyson Witherspoon, buckle up, brother.
Yeah. I do wonder if Auburn's the number 1 RPI team right now. I just don't see Auburn slipping out of a top 8 national seed. 2 in RPI, 5 in KPI. But again, it's like, how do you rank? You got Texas, Arkansas, Vandy, Auburn, LSU, Georgia, all of which have various things going for them. Again, I think the ACC is going to get a national seed. I think it's probably North Carolina. And I think Oregon has gotten into that discussion too. And maybe a Clemson, maybe a Florida State could. That's probably what you're watching. But
the fatigue factor, Chris, I don't think the SEC is going to get 6 national seeds.
Okay, but hear me out here. Who are you going to knock, okay? Texas regular season champion, 4 in RPI, 2 in KPI. I don't know how in the world you would knock Texas out of hosting 2 weekends. Vanderbilt, metrically, again, best metrics in the country. Was it 2 or 3 in RPI? Let me double check. 2 in RPI. 2 in RPI, 1 in KPI. Like, okay, the worst thing that can happen to Vanderbilt is it can lose to Oklahoma today, which is 25 in the RPI. So they might drop a slot or 2. I just don't see how Vanderbilt, with the number 2 overall strength of schedule, is getting left out of the top 8 no matter what. And maybe not the top 4. Then you've got Auburn, very similar to Vanderbilt. Tough strength of schedule, great RPI, great KPI, a little below Vandy's, but took 2 or 3 from Vandy, took 2 or 3 at Tennessee, swept LSU in Auburn. So how you leaving Auburn out of that? You tell me. I don't know. LSU, again, the metrics continue to lag that other group. LSU has been number 1 in the polls. I can't really argue with that. I think they're a really good team. I mean, LSU as a 9 or a 10 would seem just nuts. And boy, would I be upset if I were the team on the other end of that matchup in a super. So metrics lag. I think we know what LSU has. If you watch baseball, we've talked about their pitching to no end. LSU is absolutely a top 8 team in the country and probably top 4. You got Arkansas, same thing. Metrics lagging a little bit, but I think if push comes to shove, Arkansas and LSU are probably, and Texas are probably, in most people's opinion, you 3 teams you really don't want to see. And you've got Georgia, which again, 3 RPI, 6 KPI, top 5 strength of schedule. You tell me how you justify knocking any of those teams out of the top 8.
I can't, but we know how the committee works. And I mean, in an attempt to be fair or balanced, it's going to be unfair and unbalanced because they don't ever just go down the metrics. And Ozzie Maverick, nobody's disrespecting Arkansas.
I was going to say, explain that to me. I just said they're probably one of the best teams in the country.
Your second sentence is fine. A lot of people think I'm a clown. And, hey, I amuse you. Do I amuse you? I mean, what's so funny about me? And yes, I can quote Goodfellas as well as I can quote Fletch. But nobody's disrespecting, nothing but the most respect for Arkansas.
Yeah.
Metrics lacking. That's in comparison to that's like finishing 4th at the Miss America contest. I mean, You're still a smoke show, but the metrics, this is not opinion. Those are numbers. I do have a clown haircut. You're 100% right with that. I've been wearing a visor all morning. But, boss, I mean, numbers don't lie.
Yeah, look, here's what we're talking about, okay? Quad 1 wins. Arkansas in really good shape there, 14-9. Quad 2 wins. They're 1-0. That is lacking compared to the other teams in that discussion. 21 wins in Quad 3. That's almost half of Arkansas's wins. Let me just compare that. Compare Quad 4 records to just give you the lay of the land here in that territory. Texas 11-1, North Carolina 9-0, Arkansas 21-1, Vanderbilt 9-1, Auburn 11-3, LSU 19-1, Georgia 12-0. So, again, not based on how good we think teams are. Not that at all. If I were power ranking teams right now, Arkansas and LSU would be my top 2 in the league. But that's not what the committee does. They start digging in, and then we are separating these teams that are, just right on top of each other. And if the committee is looking for excuses, you've got some things for LSU and LSU and Arkansas that you can lean on if that's where you choose to go. And for the millionth time, I am not a mind reader. You can ask my wife. I'm not omniscient. I cannot tell you what people are going to think. I cannot tell you how people are going to judge. All I can tell you is these are the criteria that they judge, and those are things that are probably going to get talked about. And trying to sort that out with those 6 teams, I mean, God help you. I don't know how you do it.
Well, I know we're getting up, and as with everybody, even with whoever was thinking we were Arkansas bashing, and we're not, because I think we're both very high on them. But I know we're tippy-toeing up to our deadline here.
Yeah. Let me get to some things that are notable quickly, okay? I didn't have as much time to center in on the hosting stuff. Again, I think the metrics are now there to justify Tennessee. They were anyway, but they were borderline. And if you want to go series wins, that's their trouble. The D1 guys think that Tennessee's got to win at least one more. They've done this a lot longer than I have. I'm just going to submit that into the evidence. I'm not going to say it's right. I'm not going to say it's wrong. I'm just going to say it is. Bubble results. This is what helps Kentucky. Okay, Notre Dame and Virginia both one and done in the ACC tournament. Kentucky's got better numbers. Arizona State and Kansas State one and done in the Big 12. Kentucky's got better numbers there. Again, Kentucky picked up 3 more Quad 1 wins last night. So I think Kentucky, to me, feels safe. At this moment, you just got to watch the bid seals, because I think for Kentucky, it couldn't have played much better than it did with those other major conference teams just losing left and right in the opening round of conference tournaments.
I agree.
And by the way, all those teams were eliminated. The tournament formats vary, but all those teams are gone. So that's 4 teams that were in Kentucky's range that all lost also. In Kentucky, RPI and KPI, I think, has got better numbers than all 4 for the most part. So there's that. Any parting thoughts as we get out of here, Jay Greason?
I got Auburn, Tennessee, and Vandy advancing today.
I think those are the right teams. I had Texas out of my bracket, but I didn't have Texas throwing a guy with 7 innings all year against Liam Doyle at this spot. So that's a little bit of a game changer.
Tell them how they can subscribe, my man.
Yeah, I put the link at the top. I'm going to put it down here too. $3 a month. That's all it takes to join our membership tier. We are doing some bonus content and spots. We'll probably have some at some point this weekend. I mean, it's half a cup of coffee at Starbucks. It might not even be that anymore. And that helps us out. That gets you some extra content. It's a way you can support the channel, and we'd appreciate that if you do. Anyway, we'll be back tonight at some point. I don't know the live stream time. We'll probably do it near the end or maybe after Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, and maybe just do something in the morning in case that goes late. So hope you guys are here for it. Appreciate all of you. Thank you for watching. For Jay Greason, I'm Chris Lee. You've been watching our baseball content here at Southeastern 16.